Hello everyone, welcome to a special sort of video where we actually take a look at the recent patch that just happened. This is not an April Fool's joke, although the good sports did include something for us to enjoy on this April 1st. What we have here is the big red button. We have the Raft April over here. And we're going to quickly save that. Override. Oh, this is new. There's a 30 block minimum on saving to avoid accidentally saving over your larger creations. Override and allow save. We're going to be saving this as April Fools. There we go. And we're going to press the big red button. What can possibly go wrong? Way! April Fools, everyone. That's a jolly big explosion there. So what did we actually blow up? Well, the raft, for starters. Let's compose ourselves quickly, get above the water again. We're going to spawn in the April Fool's raft again. We're going to take a better look at it. Because in the good fun, we need to study something that explosive. As you can see on the bottom here, yes, there's your problem. We have a bomb tucked in this thing. Let me just flip it upside down. There we go. The big red button. It does boom. It kills you if you're not lucky. If you're unlucky, I mean. If you're not lucky. It has quite a bang. So, with that explosive entrance, let us quickly go to the platform and take a look at the patch notes. There we go. So, first up, land vehicles, mod support, multiplayer improvements, improved player movement, which you can see over here we have a blue trail, balance changes, CYSS turrets and bomb shoot barrels are among the hundreds of changes we have awaiting today. So let's start at the top. We have controllable wheels. If you go to air, we have wheels for power and wheels for turning. You can now make land vehicles with these, and I will be taking a closer look at those in a tutorial soon. So we're not going to be going too much in depth. They can be controlled by piggybacking on the water mode or air mode propulsion. Resource zone growth rate is now constant again, rather than increasing when the zone is empty. We have new control options available through the automated control block. And I am curious to see if that means any inputs. I believe these are new. Height above sea or ground, less or greater than, and height above terrain, less or greater than. And I know there's no general purpose BYD blocks in here. Fuel engines, light fittings, control. Oh dear. We have aerial AI cards. Ooh. Yeah, some new options in there. That's great. We have mod support has been added to the game, which is great. Then, if we take a look, they added stairs blocks, which are available in decoration. And they should work. Although I just tested them and I don't actually think they do work yet. Why can I not build a beam here? It's supposed to be able to lie on here. Okay. Well, that's annoying. But in theory, we should have... Oh, there we go. They do work now, which is great. That means... we only need to get one on there. There we go. Now we can actually keep walking. Your stairs will now actually work as stairs. This is great. I built this on another ship earlier and it didn't work, so I guess it just takes some getting used to. I don't know. Also, you don't need ammo routers anymore for the advanced projectile system, which is a lovely change. It's going to make it easier for new players to get used to building guns, etc. Rambot Avatar can now cling to his vehicle, which is the default movement mode. Press backslash to change that. Double tap space to release from the vehicle. So right now we are in a blue trail. That means we are actually using the mag lock. Double tap space to release from the vehicle. And we will re-engage once we get back on it, basically. They also nerfed his maximum jumping height, I guess you could call it. Now we have this disabled by pressing backslash once. We are now latching on again. Yeah, just press backslash to change that. And there you go. So do keep in mind you can't jump as high as you could before, but you can now change to the vehicle. Also, for those of you who were using Scuttlebutt, which is the one with the helicopter propeller, he is no longer in the game, unfortunately. Now, on to the next thing. Replace blocks now works in multiplayer. Prefabs now work in multiplayer. Sub-object save and load now works in multiplayer. Weapon control is improved in multiplayer. Client in movement is controlled client side and is lag free in multiplayer. There's a new hand-holding tutorial system added to lead you through the tutorial resources available. So you'll see that in the main menu. Let's take a quick look at that. Well, here we are at the main menu. We now have tutorial completion. You have completed 0 out of 34 tutorial steps. Science tells us that rage quitting can be reduced to acceptable levels by learning how to play. We've got a tutorial completion meter over here. You have a basic controls tutorial, etc. You'll receive 500 experience points for successful quiz completion. Okay, so this is basically the new tutorial, and there's things like that is really annoying. So I'm gonna leave it here for now, so you guys can figure out what the hell's going on. But this is pretty much the little tutorial for people that are new to the game. Let's get back to the changes. Alright, so let's take a further look at the changes. We have new sound manager system added, which has nice effects and modeled speed of sound as well, which is going to be very lovely. We'll have to take a look at that by firing at some point. Let me just quickly scroll down the list. We have support added for land vehicles and terrain vehicles as forces and fleets. We have got a bomb shoot barrel for crime cannons. Let's take a look at that, because that's going to be a game changer. The bomb shoot barrel is a single barrel piece that should be used instead of, not as well as, other barrel segments. So instead of, let's just build something real quick. Instead of having like 5 barrels and then a bomb shoot on the edge, which clearly, by the way, this is the wrong way to do it. You want to have no barrels and just this bomb shoot. And then you should be able to fire bombs. Because what this does, if we take a closer look at the block in here, the bomb shoot is a single barrel. It fires the shell very slowly, but very accurately. Huge field of fire and traverses quickly. It's perfect for dropping shells from a bomber onto your opponent. Yes, this is gonna make planes more useful. You can just see the art. Look at that. We can fire all the way over there. We can fire all the way down there. We have a huge field of fire, 80 azimuth, 80 elevation. This is gonna make bombers a thing, instead of having like huge racks of magnets. This is gonna be cool. I'm definitely gonna mess around with these. I'm gonna have to include these in a planes tutorial at some point. So we'll take a closer look at that at some point. Don't you worry about that. Next up, significantly increase the FPS while on the map. Great! I've been having a lot of map stutter lately, which is a weird thing to say, but you have seen it in my campaign if you have watched more of my videos. If not, then well, the map can get a bit slow at times. So having extra FPS on there is good. Land should no longer disappear from from beneath the player or vehicles, which is a thing apparently. Okay, I'll take it as a good thing because it was a bug fix. Next up, the way sails are placed have changed a bit. Some may well be broken now, and they apologize. But change is a good thing. So let's quickly take a look how that has changed. By just building the bare of masts. Oh, we can't build any water things on here because it's a platform. We'll leave that then. It shouldn't be that much of a change anyway. Prefabs and sub-objects are now stored in individual files. Ooh. They also changed missile drag, decreased from 100% at 0 meter altitude to 50%. Oh no, never mind. Decreased from 0% at 0 altitude to 50% at 300 meter altitude, and then 0% at 500 meters. Ability to turn using fins decreases from 100% at 300 meters to 10% at 500 meters. So basically, the higher your missiles are, the faster they go, and if you are above 300 meters, they will start to turn slower. So do keep that in mind. Improvement. Projectile follow camera is now an orbital view of the projectile or missile. And they also upped the range on lasers. Lasers can now do damage out to 10 kilometers instead of 3 kilometers before, which is a very useful change indeed. And they nerfed resource storage. Quite massively in fact. This large container used to contain like 80,000. Now it contains 16,000. You can have up to 2k of resources per meter cubed. So basically, one wooden block's worth of resources, or one small container, now contains 2,000, which is a lot less, I have to say. That is really a significant change. It's gonna make local resources that much harder, but then again, that much more realistic, if that's what you're up for. Game config sliders for resource storage and overall damage scaling. So, let's take a look at that in options. Can't take a look at that here, we'll take a look at that elsewhere. Okay, so we're in the campaign right now. I think the sliders are supposed to be in here, although I don't think they're quite here yet, which either I'm missing something or it's not quite entirely there yet. But anyway, I think they're supposed to be in here. For those of you who have been following my campaign, this is my current difficulty. I've put it up a bit recently. I might go up to Godly Design soon. That's going to be fun. But for now, we're just going to keep it at this, and we'll get back to the changes. Alright, we're back for more improvements. Like, you can pause the game at any time pressing F11, which is right here. Game pause by pressing F11. You can still change the camera around, etc., but literally nothing will happen. Well, that's a good thing. I like that. Allows for cinematic pictures, etc. And a vehicle drag is reduced from 100% at 300 meter altitude to 10% at 500 meter altitude, where air density reaches 0. So your planes are gonna fly faster at higher altitude. Although you're gonna have less, well, if you're based on propellers, etc., you might have an impact. You're gonna have less gravity, etc. So it's gonna be interesting to have high flying planes be more different now. Event outcome likelihood is now customizable in the map editor, which is a weird thing. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so to get to the planet editor, you don't have to hop through many hoops. You just have to go over here, workshop editor mods under miscellaneous, go to the planet editor, and unidentified unique identifier change. You start at the editor on planet editor. Basically, this is the first time I'm here, and where should we be expecting? I think it's in, not factions, areas. Wow, there's a lot of things here. What are we looking for again? Event outcome likelihood is now customizable, so I think that is like, oh, events. Add events, and then you can have multiple triggers, outcomes, delete the event. And you can now customize the outcome likelihood. Yeah, likelihood of happening. So that's that. And this is a whole other bucket. This is like really deep stuff. But yeah, that's the event outcome stuff. Alright, resource dump levels are now controlled by the server and synchronized to the players. So you shouldn't have different varieties of resources in multiplayer games, I guess. That is aimed at that, which is good, I guess. Improvement for multiplayer. Let's scroll down a list. Retrofitting is enabled in multiplayer games. Resource supply distance based on the force's resource storage capacity. So if you have a giant fortress that has like millions of resources, you can supply further away vehicles. And if you have just a tiny amount of resources, you have to get really close. Which is a thing now. There's now the option in the V menu to disable the removal of water effects due to air pumps, which is right here. And we also have changes to wheels. Wheels can be tied to air and water, wheels can be tied to air, water, or not controlled at all. That's interesting. We now have APS autoloaders now have a bonus to reload speed for the larger variants. Roughly 40% to the old value. So, if we take a look at this, which is not connected to a gun, let's quickly connect it to a gun. God, you are oddly specific, aren't you? Well, we'll put you over here, and then we'll put a cooling unit here. I don't know, I don't really think I can show it here, but these reload up to 40% quicker, so larger shells should fire faster, which will make larger caliber advanced cannons a good thing. That's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be fun in the campaign, etc. It gives you a little bit more freedom to build. Several new player skills and buffs have been added. Structure is in place for more in the future, so current skills that work are gunnery, which you can check by pressing Z. Gunnery is now a thing. And Sea Captain is a thing. Gunsmith is a thing, which is not in here apparently. We have salvo batteries, naval engineering, aerial engineering, and astro engineering. Now I'm not really sure where all of these are. Oh, right! There's a second tab. That makes sense. There's captain buffs and fleet buffs. We have gunsmiths over here. We have salvo batteries, etc. We're going to take a look at all of these in a second. Let's first see what's happened, what's changed to the captain skills. We have leadership is a thing. Is that implemented yet? I don't see it in the list, but it might be. Right, so leadership now changes a map speed and radar range. We have gunnery increases accuracy. I guess the lower the better. The accuracy factor, the weapon reload, and the ammo use. Alright. We have Sea Captain, affects drag, propeller force, hydrofoil force, and rudder force. That's interesting. We also have shift click for 10 and control click. Oh, hold both to add or remove 100. That's good. Can I be like, hey, put all the things in here. Yeah, let's take a look at Sky Captain was already in the game. Jet force, wing lift, aileron force, helicopter force, balloon lift, that sort of thing. Space Captain was already a thing. Engineer, I hope they fixed this, because I don't think it actually added extra power. So having said that, the current new skills that work shouldn't really change the old skills that work. We have miner is still a thing, mechanic is a thing, quartermaster is not yet a thing. So let's take a look at fleet buffs now. Gunsmith, cannon shell velocity and accuracy increased fleet-wide. So these are just on your personal vehicle, and these can be fleet-wide. Oh dear! Cannon shell velocity increased by 1.12 right now, by 20 points, and shell accuracy is increased a tiny bit. So obviously because these are fleet-wide and not captain only, they're gonna be smaller, basically. But they'll be implemented over further things. We have laser damage increased. Oh dearie dear. Laser damage increased by 2. Wait, does that mean we... Oh god. That's gonna make lasers so much more powerful. And you can have them be so much more compact. Although I don't think scientists is actually on the list that works, so... That's unfortunate. That would have been so ridiculous. But salvo batteries sure do. Decreases missile reload and ammo use. Alright. Naval engineering. So your entire fleet can have less drag. And more propeller thrust and rudder turning power. That's great. We've got aviation engineering, which they worded differently in the patch notes, but I guess this should work. We have aerial engineering, which is aviation engineering. It's basically the same. Wing and helicopter blade lift increased and jet thrust increased. Great. Astro engineering. Dense air altitude and ion engine thrust increased. Alright. Armor smith. This works. I know it does. And, wait, armor smiths. No, it's not on the list. Sorry. So, damage resistance. Alright, that is pretty cool. We have nanites, which are not implemented according to the list, but they will be reducing repair time and cost. And then finally there is merchants. This is what you want to have for supply convoys. It increases fleet-wide supply radius and transfer rates. That's cool. I love it. Then we also have personal attributes now, which I don't think are implemented right now. I'm not 100% sure if these were a thing before. I can't really remember right now, but it doesn't really matter too much, I guess. We have pugilists. Actually, I do think these were a thing before, but nothing about these, so I guess they don't work. And there's still items here and skills. Fleet colors, your flag. Right, let's get back into it. Tooltips now enabled for enemy vehicles in the fleet control UI. So let's quickly plonk down said enemy vehicle. We now have a hostile April Fool's platform over here. Gives us a toolbox in theory. In the fleet control UI. Right, so is that in here then? Let's say I died. That's right, let's do something else. Let's load in missile boat AI, I guess.
Weapons are turning off.
Oh yeah, they make sounds now. We'll get into that in a bit. Just trying to find out, because this is pressing N is the fleet control UI. Yeah, there's a map. We have tactical control, unless it's strategic control. Oh, strategic control. There we go. We can see its speed, volume, things, etc. Okay, that's cool, I guess. We'll leave that there for now. We might leave that. We might need that later. We now have close-in weapon support AI controllers. Right, so let's take a look at AI, the local weapons controller. You now see this one is recolored. And the AMCC directs fused explosive cannon fire at incoming missiles. You need to place an advanced projectile system cannon directly above or 2 meters above this block. Make sure the cannon is firing shells with a timed fuse and explosive or flag warheads. Make sure the cannon has a laser targeter component as well and a missile warning camera that can see the missile. So what you need is a mainframe hooked up to a missile warner. You need a wireless transmitter on here. Although technically it's already connected, but you still need a wireless receiver for the actual thing itself. And now we can put a defense cannon here, which would then open fire on incoming missiles, which is interesting. Let's press Q, because it's got a lot of options. Jesus Christ. Where angles are in degrees, range in meters, and speed in meters per second. P loss is the loss of priority, so a higher value means lower priority. Right. There's a lot of things to tweak here. Let's start at the top of the list. We've got minimum range of fire. We have got maximum range of fire up to 5,000 meters. And down to 0. We have maximum fire rate. We have acceptable shots. Now we're going to start getting into the important things. The number of shells fired at a missile before we start lowering its priority. Priority loss per extra shot. Acceptable angle to engage. So I guess this is like Well, you can set this to 180. So I guess this means like within 20 degrees we'll start firing on the missile. Which is admittedly a possibility to hit with flak. Priority loss per extra shots. The loss of priority per degree for angle needed to turn to engage above the acceptable limit. So if we have an angle above 20 degrees per extra... I don't know if this... So the loss of priority per degree. Okay, so if we set this to 0.10, it will lose 0.1 priority per degree of extra turning. If we turn that back down to 0.02, it loses one priority every 50 degrees, which is admittedly a lot. But it should be enough that it will target other missiles instead. Acceptable miss angle. The miss angle of the missile below which no priority will be lost. Priority lost per miss angle. If this is so, basically just like priority loss for extra shots, the higher this, the further away the degree, the more priority will be lost. Acceptable range, which is, I guess, oh, the miss angle of the missile below which no priority will be lost. Same thing. So, I guess it's like, miss angle of the missile. The tooltip isn't really helping. I think this will be updated at some point, but I do believe right now, like, it's lower range, more priority, I guess. Priority loss per meter. So the further away you are, the less interesting you are. Acceptable speed. The speed of the missile below which no priority will be lost. So if you set this to slow missiles, it's going to target slower missiles first. And if you set it high, you will target all the fast missiles. Priority loss for speed. Priority set to 0. You can actually use this as a tweak so that you favor slower or faster missiles. But yeah, that was a mouthful, really. Jesus. That's going to be interesting, having CISS weapon systems in the game. Next up, control block can now force all weapon types to fire, not just missiles. Vehicle on a vehicle collision bugs ironed out. Okay, that's an improvement, I guess. Next, when you give orders, they will sort of speak back to you, which is what we took a look at earlier. Let's quickly load in things. Like, I don't know, the April Fool's raft, because it is funny. Let's go in fleet mode. It's gonna talk to us. Right, let's turn that up, because we can't quite hear it with the sound.
Listening.
It will tell us it's listening.
Listening. Airborne at your service.
Airborne at your service.
All terrain reporting. Land mode standing by.
Water mode at your service.
Right, so they're telling us different
All
things now.
terrain reporting.
Which is lovely, this is cool. And then...
Weapons open. Taking control. Control north. Warm up and fly with fleet. Turning off.
So it's now gonna give you a little answer. It's like, hey, you've got us selected, we're listening. That sort of thing. That's pretty cool, I love it. I really do. Next up, LCW shots per second limit is now 40 instead of 2. And they're not sure why it ever was 2. And LCW is, I guess, laser related stuff. Vehicle on the vehicle collision bugs. Oh yeah, we had that one. Bug fix regarding fog of war view distance for dead blueprints. Alright, so that's like radar stuff, I guess. The build bar and favorites bar works in multiplayer. Missile explosive warhead damage now doubled from 200 to 400. So your explosive warheads are more useful. Hooray! You no longer need a patrol AI card to actually give orders to the AI. So the patrol card is now obsolete. RIP patrol card. But that's a nice change. User interface for fleets and forces simplified and unified quite a bit. So in here we now have other things, I guess. And this also is different and easier.
Lifting.
I do like this. It's like, oh, this looks cool. It's now a fortress, and we'll have... Let's load in a wing quickly to see what that looks like. Wing. Load in a wing V2. You can fly, right? Come on. Don't be shy. There we go. Oh, he still looks the same. And then boats also look the same, I believe. So that's not really changed. Volume used instead of block count in a number of places throughout the game now. And we no longer are able to have a fleet without a flagship. One will automatically be selected for you. They fixed rotation speeds, which are now fleet rotation speeds. They are now properly calculated and applied, so you can no longer pull a battleship out of play and have it turn on a dime, which is a good thing, I guess. And AI, fleet and resource zone bindings have been added to Lua. Lua editors will now select all code when Control A is pressed. Inventory, fleet control and map UI have been decluttered. And finally, Dangerous Waters World War II RDS planet is in the built-in planets folder and ready for version 0 testing. For those of you who don't know, Dangerous Waters is a World War II campaign that was fan-made and is now implemented into the game. I'm going to be taking a look at that at some point, probably after this campaign. So stay tuned for that. Well, in the meanwhile, that has basically been this look at update 1.947. We're going to be taking a look at more of the features in depth later in our series, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you learned something here, then please leave a like down below. Leave a comment if you have anything to say, and until next time, have a good one, folks.